This is exercise 4-3, creating column grids. I opened igrids.rvt, so that's a Revit file when you see .rvt. Alright, so the first step is we want to activate the TO footing, which means it's an abbreviation for top of footing. So the top of footing floor plan, we're going to activate it by double clicking on it. We're going to zoom into the building area right here, and then we're going to select the grid tool on the datum panel. So grid up here, and notice that level cannot be placed because this is a floor plan. Just wanted to point that out. We talked about that in the last exercise. So we're going to click on grid, and we're going to select the pick lines mode from the draw panel. So pick lines is always this green line, okay? However you want to remember that, it's a green line. Pick lines. We're going to set the offset to 2 feet. On the options bar, so the options bar is this green bar that pops up, and we're going to click to place a vertical grid line as shown in the figure. So we have to carefully look at our book, and it looks like we have a vertical grid line right here. And then in step 7, we're going to place some more grid lines as shown. So we're going to keep that offset the same, and we're going to just go around and place some more grid lines. Now, we are not done because it looks like we need to extend some of these grid lines a little bit so this drawing reads a little bit cleaner. So for example, I'm going to pull this one down, I'm going to pull this up just a little bit, and then I'm going to pull these out. Now make sure everything's kind of extending to the same position, right? And we're going to pull this about out to here, and then also this needs to come over and just pull it out so it extends to the 4. You'll see that blue dash line when you've got it meeting that location. Okay, so now that we have those grid lines placed, we are going to I'm actually going to go back to the grid tool because I X'd out of it, and I'm going to click on the line tool. So this is going to allow me to draw grid lines. And I'm going to add a vertical grid line as shown and 2 horizontal grid lines as shown. So it looks like over here, I'm just going to come over and align my grid line point about here. And notice again, see, I should have drawn top to bottom because it put my box or my circle in the wrong spot, but I'll show you how to fix it if this happens to you. I do that a lot. I'm going to come down. It looks like I need a vertical grid over here, and then I also need a vertical grid over here. Okay, again, and make sure you're using those those little blue lines that come up to make sure everything's aligned. Okay, with 7, we want the bubble down here, so we're going to check this box, uncheck this box. Oh, and with 6, I just noticed we wanted 6 on both sides, so I'm going to check 6 over there, and also with 4. Sorry about that. Okay, so good. So now I look like I have the figure. My figure looks similar to the figure in the textbook. Next step, I'm going to place a check on both rectangles to make the bubbles visible on both sides. Okay, so I guess it wants me to do it to all of them. So go ahead and do that with all of them. Yep, so I've got my bubbles are visible on all sides. And now I want to label the horizontal grid lines as A through D. Alright, and they're going to be labeled from top or bottom to top. So this 6th one, we're going to start off, if we double click in there, we're going to say A. We're going to click in the 9. This is going to be B. You may have to zoom in to do this so you don't accidentally click on something else. If this happens to you, so you double click, hold on, I'll try to get it to do it. If you double click and it opens it, trying to make it do it in another window, it means you're trying to edit the grid line. Just close out of that other window and come back into here. It can't make it do it for some reason, but I imagine somebody might run into that. Okay, and then we're going to label all our vertical grid lines with numbers. So the first one, this one's going to be 1, then we have 2, and we have 3. Okay? So A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. Now what these grids are doing are they're allowing us to locate structural information on this drawing. So this is the purpose of these grid lines. Alright, now I'm going on to the next step. It says activate the annotate ribbon and select the align dimension tool. So annotate, align dimension tool. And it says place a multi-segmented dimension between the 3 vertical grid lines and then use the EQ tool. So I'll do it down here. And when it says a multi-segmented dimension, it just means to click on each line instead of doing it separately, just how I did. And then just pull it down and click here and then click on EQ. You know, I just realized this does not have a box. There we go. Oops, made a little mistake there. Alright, so now those grid lines are equal distant between each other. Now we're going to place a multi-segmented dimension line between the vertical, or horizontal grid lines, excuse me, and then we're going to use the EQ tool again. So I'll do it here, just click on all these, and then to get out of the command you just click in on the drawing. And then we click on EQ and it's going to space those equally as well. Okay, next we are going to select the vertical dimensions, right click, and toggle EQ display off. So we're going to select the vertical dimensions, we're going to right click, and we want to toggle up to here and click EQ display so it's off, and now it's actually displaying the dimensions that are listed. Same with the horizontal, we're going to click on the dimension, right click, EQ off, and it will display the actual dimensions. Alright, next we are going to create some structural elements to align to these grid lines. So we're going to activate the architecture ribbon, click on it, and we're going to select the structural column tool from the build panel. So here's my build panel, right? And my structural column is somewhere in here. Oh, right here, sorry, column, structural column, okay. And I want to select a 24 by 24 concrete square column, which is the first thing that came up for me. But before I place anything, I want to take a look at this options bar. Alright, on the options bar I want to select height. If I keep it at depth, what it's going to do is it's going to place a column that's going down into the, from this point it's clicking down. But I want height, I want it to be from here, and then I want the column to rise up. Okay, so I need height, and then I want it to say main floor, and it's going to be 9 feet and room bounding. And now I'm going to click Enable at Grids right here, this grid intersection. This is a cool tool because it allows you to place columns quickly. We're going to hold down the Control key and we're going to click on each grid line. So let me zoom out just a little bit. Okay, you're going to see what's going to happen. So instead of placing those columns individually, it placed all of them when I started clicking, which is very cool. Okay, and then once you're done and you see those columns placed at every grid intersection, we're just going to hit the Finish button. And now we're going to click on the Tag All. Oops, sorry, we got to go to the Animate ribbon. And now we're going to click on Tag All. And we want to tag all those structural columns. So if we highlight the structural column, we can say, I'm going to say Apply just so you can see. Now it put tags on top of all those columns. And then I'm going to say OK. So now you can see the tag is loaded, and this is 24 by 24, and we're going to now adjust this slightly. So we're going to zoom in on one of these columns. We're going to select one of the tags, okay, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to click on Edit Family. Alright, it's going to open a new box. Now I'm going to go to File up here, Save As, and I'm going to save it as a family. So remember, when it saves as a family, it's a r.rfa. It's not an RVT file. And I'm going to save that to my student drive or wherever I've been saving my drawings. Okay, so it wants me to rename it structural column location tag.rfa, and then I'm going to hit save. Now I'm going to go over to, I'm going to click on it. Right, gotta activate it, and then I'm going to come over to the properties box and I'm going to hit edit where it says label, and I need to change some things in here. So I'm going to use the add and remove tools from the middle. So that's these. This is add, this is remove. And I'm going to remove the type name. Okay, so I want to remove it. Boop. And then I want to find column location mark over here, and I want to add it. Okay, and then I'm going to say okay, and then it changed it. Now it says column location mark, and I am going to save the file. So I'm going to hit save. Remember, make sure you saved it to your student drive or wherever you've been saving it, and then I'm going to click on load into project. Alright, so it's going to load it into this project here. Okay, I'm going to click back into the top of footing plan, and now I am going to select the column tag here. I'm going to right click and select all instances visible in view. So that's all the instances that are visible in the top of footing view, instances of that tag. I'm going to, in the properties box, select the structural column location tag. Okay, right here. And you'll notice that the tags updated with their location. So this says A1, this is A, and this is grid line 1, A2, along grid line A, and grid line 2. So this is how we locate things in the field. It's just easier to talk to people to say, like, there's a column at, or there's an issue at column B2, and they would know, like, okay, I have to just come across, look at these, and they're talking about this column right here. Imagine if none of these were labeled, it'd be very confusing. So that's the end of that project.